this year. So by the time that, school rolled around, it was like, oh my gosh, it's school already. I'm not ready. The kids aren't ready. I think me more so mentally than them. But yeah, it was a fun, fantastic summer. But the transition going back into school, I'll tell you, was I ever grateful? Am I ever grateful for these patches? Not only for them, but also for me, because to be honest, like it was really overwhelming. The last few weeks of summer, there was a lot of travel, which is really fun and it's exciting, but it's preparing to always go away and then coming home and unpacking and then thinking about what needs to be done next, which again, it's not like people have done this before too. But when it comes to being not prepared for them to go back to school and my oldest going to a brand new school, I was feeling a bit overwhelmed. So I started with this one. This is our peace patch. And I'm telling you, life still happens, but I could handle it a lot better. Those feelings of being overwhelmed were not as like, not such a big stressor on my mind. And I still have it. I'm still wearing it because it works that well. And I'm not taking any type of anxiety medication or stress medications or anything like that. I'm just using this patch to get me through those days and weeks prior to school. And then even now, and it's one patch that I will probably continue to wear because I just handle life better. So with this particular patch too, my kids also use this one because I mean, I don't think there are kids out there, yes, that are like excited to go to school and they're ready for it and there's zero stress around it. But that's not necessarily my boys. Especially my oldest one, like he handles life very well and he has had anxiety, but he uses this patch consistently. And for him going to a brand new school, new bus routine, not sure if he was going to have any friends in his class or anything like that. Like honestly, he knew one kid at the school and that was it. Wasn't sure if he was going to be in the class. So the night before he was going to school, I had forgot to put one on him the day prior, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, do you want one?" And he goes, "Yes, mom." And I'm like, "Okay." Like he understands how powerful they are, and that it is an immediate change in how he feels. So that one I have been putting on both of them. I have an 8-year-old as well, and he was a little bit anxious because his big brother wasn't going to be at the same school anymore. So day one was a little challenging, but he really, like, I was so impressed with how well he handled it. Even though there were a couple tears, that's okay. Like I said, life still happens, but he handled it so well. And I really do attribute it to this patch because I've been through this situation before when his brother was in school before we had these patches, and it was rough. So this one, I stand behind it 100% in terms of just stress reduction and making you feel calmer in your body. So that one I really love, and the kids I think feel the difference as well. I mean, I know my oldest one does because he's vocalized it. There are three others that are my lineup for the kids. Like it's hands down, these four are always on them. This one is our one for sleep. And I'll tell you that we have zero melatonin in our house now because of this patch. Like I did have to resort to melatonin at times. It wasn't a full dose, but it still never made me feel good to give that to the kids. And then as more research had come out, I'm like, no, I want to stop. So every single night, everyone in this house wears the REM patch. And before using the REM patch, my youngest would wake up and his first word would be no. I'm like, oh man, here we go. So, and that was before I started consistently using the peace patch. So it was a bit of a couple rough mornings. We don't have those rough mornings anymore because he's waking up rested and he feels good and there's no groggy feeling or that he's still needing his sleep. Like that patch, I'm telling you, it's just I'm so grateful for it because, like I said, we've been able to eliminate melatonin and their bodies are now able to just do what they need to do, heal throughout the night like they're supposed to, get the rest and rejuvenation, like we all need. And for me, with that particular patch, I'm usually the last one awake and the first one up in the morning. And that one gets me going in the morning, like because I'm rested, because I wake up feeling good, I'm ready to get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes maybe earlier. So those two are my faves. A couple more that I just think are incredible. Defend. We have, this is one that we always wear, and for a few different reasons. If you know about this patch, you know how incredible it is for our bloodstream and our blood system and circulation and things like that. But at the same time, like this one increases greater immune support, meaning we're not saying that you're not going to get sick. Like, yes, there have been bugs that have come in my house, but we bounce back so much quicker, so much quicker. And this one helps my oldest with his allergies as well. Just a quick testimonial on this one. Monday, we were out of town. They were both at school. Tuesday morning, we were at the hotel. Everything was fine. We get home Tuesday evening, and in the middle of the night, my youngest woke up saying that he had a scratchy throat, wasn't feeling well. I realized that he didn't have his Defend patch on. He had taken it off or it had fallen off. I think he had taken it off because sometimes he likes to, if it is in an area where he can sit and pick at it, he will. And I'm like, stop doing that. But I realized he didn't have it. So this one, I slapped on his leg in the middle of the night. I did allow for him to stay home only because he had, well, I mean, he's talking about a scratchy throat. There's sickness going around. I don't want him to spread anything if he is coming down with something. Plus, let's get him have the rest. It was only a half day at school, and he's back at school today. This patch, I swear, whatever was in his system helped his body fight it so much better. So this is one that throughout the entire school year, it will always be on our bodies, all of us, because it's that important to me. We still have sickness around us. So why wouldn't we protect ourselves the best way possible?
Plus, the first
Right?
2 weeks of the year are when usually things happen, sniffles start, and it's like that
Yeah.
the first couple of weeks because you're getting used to everyone's. Your immune system's not as strong in a sense because it's got all these people around you, right? So yeah, most of the
Well,
time,
and
and it brings it home to the parents generally too. And
exactly. Yeah. Everybody is coming back. Yep.
right,
Exactly. And I mean, honestly, like we all have busy lives. We all have busy lives. Who can afford to be sick these days?
right.
Right? So, and something like this, like I would much rather spend my money on these patches, drug-free patches, which I'm confident in putting them on my child's body. I'm confident in wearing them every single day. I would never want to have to resort to over the counter medications on a permanent basis, or every time I got the sniffles or my children got the sniffles. And to be very honest, my own personal testimony with that Defend patch, since I've started using it, I have not had a sinus infection.
That's
I always to get sinus infections all the time. Every time, like there would be a little bit of something going on in our family, I would end up with a sinus infection,
awesome.
meaning antibiotics. I like they're necessary at times, but I didn't want to have to resort to that all the time. So I'm like, all right, I have the Defend patch. I'm going to start wearing it. And like I said, no more sinus infections. So
And it's like I think we bought into this idea that we actually will get sick several times a year for whatever reason, but I don't know that it's necessary in that whole process of
I
taking your cold medicine and dragging yourself through the day, and it's blowing your nose all the time. And all that is, it's really not very fun. I mean, I that doesn't, the defend patch, I wear it every day. I mean, most of us that are been with the company for a while do, because we know how powerful it is. And, I'm I do part-time Uber driving, so I'm around a lot of different people, and I just, I feel very confident because, I take my supplements and I wear my defend patch, it's like I feel great.
Protect.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, like, honestly, that's the way I think of it too. Like, when we know better, we do better. And we friggin' know better with these patches, right? And that's the thing. Like, I mean, even with my youngest, like, he has no problem putting these patches on. Today, I think I sent him with 4. So I added another one today. Joy, I think, is what I added with him. But the main one that I always put on for school is Focus.
Mhm.
And that one, I mean, we all wear it, but they both, like, my oldest, he's going to a brand new school, grade 8. So it's going to be a little challenging. It's going to be a little bit more difficult this year. And he's not in the same comfortability as he's been for the last 7 school years, right? So for him to have Focus on, to have Peace on, like the two of them together, like he's not stressing, therefore he can focus better, right? So, and it's the same thing with my youngest. And I'll tell you, if I don't have these patches on my youngest, especially, I'll hear from the teacher. So I don't want to hear from the teacher. So my kids wear the patches.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome we have something to help. I mean, you and I went through school with nothing, right? I mean, we just had to kind of grin and bear it. And the distractions these days are so much different than when we were in school. I mean, just the phones and it's just, it's crazy. So the kids have a lot bigger challenge to stay focused in class.
They absolutely do. And, I know that there's studies out there to show how detrimental these devices are for our kids in terms of like losing our focus. I mean, I think we all kind of can struggle with focus anyway, but then we add these devices. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like there is an absolute time and place for them, but then you add, social media to our kids' lives. Like I know how squirrely my brain can get if I'm jumping from one app to the next app to the next app to the next app. Like, how can we keep track of all of that, right? So, and I'm in my 40s. Like my kids, our kids deserve better than that. And, I appreciate that my 12-year-old does have a phone because, again, kind of the crazy world we live in. It's nice for me to be able to contact him, but at the same time too, it's not a thing where he's not on a bunch of social media platforms. He's got it to talk to some of his schoolmates from previous school and the kids in his classes now. But I am very cognizant of how much time he's on it, and is he losing his focus outside of using that phone. You got to be able to focus in life in order to grow and to learn, right? So I feel like I'm so grateful for these patches. I'm so grateful that they're drug free and that they really are helping people regain their focus, their quality of life. Some people are even saying it's brought their life back, right? Like it's not just their quality of life, but they're actually excited to live again. And I just, to be able to put them on my kids every day, I'm thankful for.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on and just chatting with me about that. It's like I don't have kids in school anymore, so it's neat to hear your perspective and be reminded of that crazy time every September because I remember it wasn't easy. So I appreciate that, and I wish I had patches back then. That would have made things a little smoother.
I know. It really would have. My anxiety levels would have been a lot less, that's for sure. But yes, I'm so grateful to be here. Thanks for having me, and always nice chatting with you, Kim.
Thanks so much, Sherry. You have a good Sherry Lynn. You have a great day. I love you. Bye bye.
Thanks.